There were guitarists in the history of rock that shaped that powerful sound in their hands, but unfortunately they didn't get the recognition they deserved. And why aren't these guitarists more recognized? In this video, we talk about 10 hard rock legends who deserve the spotlight but don't get enough of it. When you hear these names, your memories will come alive and you will go back in time. Dave Meniketti is one of the most admired guitarists in the world of hard rock, but somehow he has never been at the top. Born in 1953, this San Francisco native was the founder, frontman, and guitarist of Y&T. Formed in the early 1970s as Yesterday and Today, the band was renamed Y&T in the 80s, and from that point on, the band really exploded. With Meniketti's guitar tone, hair-raising melodic solos, and powerful vocals, the band left its mark on the hard rock scene with albums like Mean Streak, Black Tiger, and In Rock We Trust. Especially on songs like Forever and Rescue Me, his guitar almost makes you cry. But they still didn't get enough support in the MTV era. Over the years, many bands from Metallica to Mötley Crüe have cited them as an inspiration. But the Meniketti name never made it to the big showcases. John Sykes, a guitar hero who left his mark on the 80s hard rock scene, not with his voice, but with his tone and technique. He got his career off to a fast start with Tigers of Pantang, but the real breakthrough came on Thunder and Lightning, Thin Lizzy's last album. He was the force behind the hard riffs and high energy on that album. He later joined Whitesnake and co-wrote much of 1987's classic Whitesnake album with David Coverdale. The iconic opening riff on Still of the Night came from his fingers. But he left the band before the album was even released. Yes, he was pushed out of the scene in perhaps his biggest moment. And then he formed his own band. Blue Murder, the first album, released in 1989, was both technically advanced and melodically powerful. But somehow it didn't reach the audience. And he died in December 2024. Jake E. Lee was one of the most memorable guitarists in the world of hard rock and heavy metal. In the mid-1980s, he brought a great innovation to Ozzy Osbourne's band. His guitar playing on Ozzy's album Bark at the Moon, 1983, was one of the most remarkable works of that era. Jake's melodic ability and technical skill perfectly complemented Ozzy's dark and dramatic voice. The Ultimate Sin was one of Ozzy's most powerful albums. Tracks like Shot in the Dark were outstanding examples of Jake's virtuosity. However, when he parted ways with Ozzy, Jake E. Lee started a new chapter by forming his own band. Badlands, which he formed in 1989, was a blend of blues and hard rock. The album Badlands was a legendary debut. With songs like Dreams in the Dark and High Wire, he reinforced his style, but unfortunately, he was underappreciated. However, the ups and downs of his career prevented him from gaining the popularity he deserved. Vito Bratta is perhaps one of the most underappreciated guitarists of the 80s hard rock scene. When he burst onto the scene as the lead guitarist of White Lion in the late 1980s, his guitar playing attracted attention both technically and melodically. Bratta became known for one of White Lion's biggest hits, Wait. The album Pride, released in 1987, was a big hit in the hard rock world. Bratta's guitar solo on Pride made the band a big hit. Songs like Tell Me and Hungry from the same album showed his technical ability and melodic understanding. The album Big Game, released in 1989, was another important step forward. Tracks like Little Fighter on this album propelled White Lion to global success. However, even though the band reached the peak of popularity after the album due to disagreements between Bratta and the band members, the band disbanded in 1991 after the album Maine Attraction. The melodic touches and technical ability that Vito Bratta brought to the stage as a guitarist made his name in hard rock history. Tracii Guns is the founder of L.A. Guns. Formed in 1983, the band is one of the pioneers of the glam metal scene of the 80s. After quickly becoming popular on Los Angeles' famous Sunset Strip scene, their 1988 album L.A. Guns made them an even more recognizable name in the hard rock world. Tracks like One More Reason showcased Tracii's unique guitar style and melodic talent. By the 90s, the album Hollywood Vampires was released and became the band's peak album. With hits like The Ballad of Jane, they had a big breakthrough, and Tracii's guitar solo shaped the hard rock sound of that era. However, due to disagreements within the band and changing music trends, Tracii Guns left the band in 1992. In the following years, LA Guns reunited, and Tracii returned for the 1999 album Man in the Moon. However, the band never regained its former popularity, and Tracii's talent was unfortunately not appreciated by a wider audience in the way it deserved. Tracii Guns is still an important name in the rock world. He left an unforgettable mark with both his guitar and stage performance. Mick Box is one of the most important names in hard rock as the founder and lead guitarist of Uriah Heep. Formed in 1969, the band blended progressive rock with hard rock to create a unique style. Their first album, Very Evie, Very Humble, 1970. But their big break came with Demons and Wizards, 1972. Hits like Easy Livin' cemented the band's musical identity. Uriah Heep enjoyed great success throughout the 70s with albums such as The Magician's Birthday, 1972, and Sweet Freedom, 1973. The innovative guitar tones and epic sound of the band's style became Mick Box's signature. They continued their success with the album Return to Fantasy in 1975. Mick Box continued his music career as a permanent member of Uriah Heep, despite the changes in the band lineup. Mick Box and Uriah Heep, who have released many albums to date, continue their careers with albums such as Sea of Light, 1995, and Wake the Sleeper, 2008, and are among the most respected names in the rock world. Ronnie Montrose was one of the most important guitarists of the 70s hard rock scene. He made his big breakthrough with the band Montrose, which he formed in 1973 and named after himself. The first album, Montrose, released the same year, became a classic with its energetic structure and aggressive guitar riffs. Tracks like Bad Motor Scooter showcased Ronnie's harsh and characteristic guitar style. Montrose, who had worked with Van Morrison before this release, also played guitar on the 1971 album Tupelo Honey. However, his real fame came with his own band. Follow-up albums like Paper Money, 1974, and Warner Brothers Presents Montrose, 1975, cemented the band's place in the hard rock scene. 1976's Jump On It was the band's last studio album. After this period, Ronnie focused on his solo career and showed off his instrumental talent with 1978's Open Fire. Ronnie Montrose has been involved in different projects throughout his career, but has left his main mark on the hard rock atmosphere of the 70s and 80s. He inspired many guitarists with his strong stage energy, innovative riffs, and unique style. George Lynch is one of the most talented guitarists of the 1980s and 90s hard rock scene. Lynch got his big break in 1984 with his album Tooth and Nail with the band Dokken, which became one of the band's best-known albums. The album drew attention with Lynch's sharp riffs and technical solos. Songs like Alone Again and Just Got Lucky became classics in the 80s hard rock scene. Their 1985 album Under Lock and Key was also a great success. George Lynch's guitar style took the band one step further by combining aggressive and melodic characteristics. However, in 1989, Lynch parted ways with Dokken and formed his own band, Lynch Mob. Lynch Mob made a name for themselves with the albums they released in the 1990s, especially Wicked Sensation, 1990. This album showcased Lynch's unique guitar style and the innovative sound he brought to the band. Lynch's solo career was also quite successful. In 1993, he released the album Slave to the Empire and drew attention with his collaborations on this album. In the following years, Lynch left a lasting impression on the rock world, appearing on several of the Mob's albums. George Lynch has done important work not only as a guitarist, but also as a songwriter and producer. With his technical skill and musical depth, he established a solid place for himself in the rock world. A major influence on the world of hard rock, Brian Robertson is one of the most important guitarists of Thin Lizzy. Joining the band in 1974, Robertson made a significant contribution to the band and became a key figure who took them to the next level. The album Jailbreak, first released in 1976, became one of Thin Lizzy's biggest successes and pushed the band's career to the top with legendary tracks such as The Boys Are Back in Town. Robertson's guitar playing complemented the energy and unique sound of the album. Robertson also appeared on the band's other iconic albums Johnny the Fox, 1976, and Bad Reputation, 1977. During this period, the dynamic between Robertson and fellow guitarist Scott Gorham laid the foundation for Thin Lizzy's dual guitarist structure and became a distinguishing feature. However, Robertson's departure from the band came in 1978, and this led to some changes in the band. However, Robertson's influence continued for many years, and he was involved in many projects in the following years. The innovative guitar solos and technical skill he brought to Thin Lizzy's music made him one of the most memorable guitarists in rock history. In the 1980s, Robertson focused on his solo career and released the album Robertson, 1981. However, his place in Thin Lizzy's history brought him more recognition. The guitar style that shaped the band's sound shows how important a figure he was in the rock world. Our last guitarist is Janick Gers. Although we mostly know him today for Iron Maiden, Janick's musical journey actually began in the spirit of hard rock. And that's why I put Janick Gers on this list. In the late 1970s, he joined Gillan, the band formed by Deep Purple vocalist Ian Gillan. Here he produced some of the most powerful hard rock albums of the era: Mr. Universe, 1979, Glory Road, 1980, and Future Shock, 1981. On these albums, Janick's energetic, melodic, and at times ferocious guitar playing was perfectly matched with Gillan's powerful vocals, especially on songs like Unchain Your Brain and Mutually Assured Destruction. Janick's guitar playing was on fire. In his post-Gillan career, he also took part in projects such as the short-lived supergroup Gog Magog, where he continued his harsh, melodic style. But his big breakthrough came in 1990 when he joined Iron Maiden. Here, his musical style shifted a bit more towards heavy metal, but he always made his hard rock roots felt with his ferocious stage performances and soulful riffs. The Maiden adventure started with No Prayer for the Dying, 1990, and continued with Fear of the Dark, 1992, and the following years. He is still one of the most energetic members of the band and one of the most active on stage. And so, today we remember 10 legendary guitarists who left their mark on hard rock history, but didn't shine as brightly as they deserved. Without their riffs, solos, and energy on stage, maybe hard rock wouldn't be what we know today. So, who do you think was missing from this list? Or, which guitarist do you think deserved to be remembered more? Be sure to write in the comments. Let's talk together. Goodbye for now.